video. Ignore this hair over here. I don't know why. It's not fucking going down, and it's pissing me off, dude. It's like a stupid ass wing on the side of my head. I don't know why it's happening. It's the worst hair day I've ever had. Oh my god, it's terrible, but it looks so bad. But we have a Better Call Saul. We have the series finale. We are finally done with the Breaking Bad universe with this episode. We're going to be returning to The Walking Dead tomorrow. We'll just have shit hair for the video. That's fine. Terrible sun, too. A lot of glare in my face, so I'm sorry. This isn't the best setup, but I gotta get going here. I gotta leave for class here in like half an hour, so yeah, we still have this and we still have The Last of Us to shoot, so let's talk about the plot and the critical reception. You guys know how these videos go. So in flashbacks, Jimmy McGill / Saul Goodman converses with Mike Ehrmantraut, Walter White, and Chuck McGill. So we kind of go back in time and we relive some possibly deleted scenes from moments like when he had to deliver that $7 million in cash through the desert, when he was talking with Walter White. Walter White was getting ready to get shipped off to New Hampshire, and he was talking to Chuck McGill when he was like running groceries to him and his brother felt bad. He asked Mike and Walt what they would do if they could travel back in time. There was this interesting recurring theme of like a time machine. Mike says he would stop himself from taking his first bribe, while Walt says he would have stayed at Gray Matter Technologies. Obviously, we know from Breaking Bad that Walter White had the opportunity. He had a 5% stake in the company that at the time was worth like $5,000, but it eventually became worth millions, and he missed that opportunity. Jimmy tells Mike he would have invested in Berkshire Hathaway and tells Walt he regrets entering his need during a scam. So he tells these people two different things, which I thought was really interesting. Mike and Walt each chastise Jimmy for his greed and inherent criminal habits. In another flashback, Chuck suggests that Jimmy consider a career other than law, which we know from watching the Better Call Saul series that was another recurring theme. Like, Chuck would always try to get him out of the law world because he knows he's going to do some corrupt shit like he knows his brother, and it's a disgrace to the law world. Jimmy counters that Chuck never did. Chuck offers to consult with Jimmy about his new legal clients, but Jimmy brushes him off. As Jimmy leaves, Chuck picks up a copy of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, so it all kind of ties together in an interesting way. In 2010, Jimmy, as Gene Takovic, is apprehended by Omaha police and hires Bill Oakley to defend him. Bill Oakley is obviously that lawyer in the courthouse that Jimmy has had, Jimmy runs into on his everyday as a lawyer, Saul Goodman. And now he wants him to defend him for a last little run for maybe a reconcile their friendship or whatever. With Jimmy facing a life sentence plus 190 years for helping Walt develop his methamphetamine empire, Bill negotiates a plea bargain that includes a 30-year sentence rather than a life sentence plus 190. So they get it negotiated down pretty good. Marie Schrader objects and accuses Jimmy of complicity in the murders of Hank Schrader and Stephen Gomez, even though he wasn't there. Saul Goodman wasn't there. And yeah, it's awesome. I think that they brought Marie Schrader back. I think it would have been cool to see someone like Skylar White return to the series, but nonetheless, Marie Schrader is definitely a good addition to bring back. Jimmy convinces the lead assistant U.S. attorney that he could deadlock a jury by portraying himself as Walt's victim, resulting in a plea bargain that reduces his prison time to 7.5 years. So Jimmy, obviously, he's a con man. He finesses his way out of all sorts of things. He took a life plus 190 down to 30, down to 7.5 years. Man. Jamie attempts to further reduce his sentence by offering information about Howard Hamlin's help, pretty much taking a plea deal. Unaware that Kim Wexler had already done so. She already did that, so that's not going to do anything. He's going to have to serve his time, which, dude, 7.5 years? I know Saul Goodman or Jimmy McGill or whoever you want to call him is late in his life, but that's not a lot of time for what you did. Jimmy learns that Howard's widow, Cheryl, may file a civil lawsuit against Kim. In a U.S. Marshal's presence, he tells Bill he will testify against Kim. Yeah. Very interesting stuff there. In Florida, Kim starts volunteering at a pro bono legal services firm, so she starts to return to her craft, which I think is really cool. District Attorney Suzanne Erickson calls her to warn that Jimmy's testimony could affect her, and Jimmy's going to go against her after all these things she's done for him. Kim attends the sentencing in Albuquerque where Jimmy admits he lied so she would be present in person. Yeah, that was good by Jimmy. He said he was going to testify against her, but really he's lying. He would never do that. He confesses to enabling Walt and admits his role in Chuck's suicide. What did he do for Chuck's suicide? I don't even remember what he did. It's been a while since I watched that show. He is sentenced to 86 years in prison where he is revered by fellow inmates who recognize him as Saul. He's helped a lot of these guys get out of situations, so they revere him. They love this guy. Kim visits him and they share a cigarette. One last time. As she departs, he goes to the prison yard to see her off and gestures finger guns. Kim acknowledges the gesture and leaves. A very interesting way to end the show, but I think this was pretty damn good, if you ask me. This was great. 100%, 10 out of 10. It's the perfect episode, I think, to close out the series. 30 reviews from Rotten Tomatoes. The lawyer who broke bad finally comes clean and Saul gone, an emotionally powerful and thematically fitting conclusion to one of television's great dramas. And it's interesting. This is very contradictory to what happened in Breaking Bad. Walter White never came clean to the authorities. He died where he died peacefully and never had any conflict, whereas Saul Goodman is atoning to, he's facing his consequences, you know? I think it's very interesting. It's a masterful conclusion to the series. One of the best series finales probably ever. Jimmy's character development, his redemption, his reconciliation with Kim, the motive of time machines in the episode, all of this stuff was just great. It added to so much. I loved Betsy Brandt's surprise return as Marie Schrader. It's been 9 years since she's at the time that she appeared in the series and the franchise. AV Club gave it an A grade. It's a supremely satisfying send-off with blast from the past and one last twist. 10 out of 10 on IGN. It's a subtler character study exploring regrets and change in its protagonist. The episode title was cool. It's a thematic bookend on a show that was never really about Saul Goodman. The motive of time machines again was awesome. The time machines, it offers more depth and context to Breaking Bad, and this series is up there with Breaking Bad. It dared to widen its scope and go bigger than Breaking Bad ever did. I don't know if that's true, but Saul's discussions with Mike, Walter, and Chuck about time machines helped riff on the theme of regret and second chances. I got a 5 out of 5 by Scout Tobias. Saul Gone finds an ending for Jimmy that's hopeful and authentic without feeling rosy or unearned. The scene in which Jimmy testifies before the court was interesting. The inner conflict between his Jimmy McGill and Saul Goodman personae. Jimmy McGill won this, and I think it's really cool to see that he had realized the prospect of reconciling with Kim takes him on a new path, one towards redemption. Jimmy's characterization was awesome. The series showed that it's never too late to stop Breaking Bad for the ones you love. Odenkirk's performance in the court scene, the episode was meticulous. Gould's writing and narrative structure was awesome. The episode was, you could say it was damn near as good as Breaking Bad series finale. The return of Betsy Brandt as Marie Schrader was cool. Despite audiences sympathizing with Jimmy over the course of Better Call Saul's 6 seasons, Marie's appearance served as a reminder of how his actions on Breaking Bad directly affected her, and as to why he was in the courtroom in the first place. So, yeah, very good episode. I gotta move on though. We gotta talk about The Last of Us, and then I gotta get going to class here. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. GZTV. That does it. 6 long seasons and 6 amazing seasons of Better Call Saul. What was it, 5 or 6 seasons of Breaking Bad, and we're finally done with that universe. So we're going to be moving on. Tomorrow, though, you guys are getting Outer Banks because I still have to finish season 3, but we're going to be returning to Walking Dead the next tomorrow. So